You're watching a TVG Extra for The Works Breeders' Cup 2014. Welcome to the TVG studios in Los Angeles. I'm Todd Schrupp. We're going to get into some additional workouts, in fact, a key work in the Breeders' Cup Classic with Barron. But a reminder, become a TVG account holder and get a great sign-up bonus. Sign up for a new TVG account, bet $200, and get $150. It's that simple. It's the time of year that you want to be playing the Breeders' Cup. 2 championship days of racing, Friday, October 31st, and Saturday, November 1st. On Saturday, the highlight will be the Breeders' Cup Classic, the richest race of the 2 days. And here's a look at the pre-entries. The 3-year-olds are definitely grabbing the spotlight here. We've talked a lot about California Chrome and Shared Belief, but what about a horse like Barron? He had one poor effort. It was in the Travers, but last time out he beat California Chrome in the Pennsylvania Derby. Let's take a look at his most recent work, October 20th, 6 furlongs at Santa Anita. Martin Garcia up.
Yeah, and again, we are watching a Bob Baffert workout here, and we saw American Pharaoh earlier working in company in front of his stablemate. Bayern with the same running style. It's been the same setup here Bob Baffert implemented. He put Bayern in front of a workmate to kind of mirror his running style in the afternoon. And
his running style says to you he's one-dimensional. He wants to be on the lead. He runs his best race on the lead to the tune of about $1.6 million for Bayern. And this is a position of comfort for him in a work. He's used to being in that kind of a spot, so he's very relaxed doing it, and he can certainly feel the presence of another horse behind him just as he does in his works. This is just as he does in his races. This is a very good work.
Yeah, I like the way they play cat and mouse with him here and give him a chance to sort of embolden his confidence out there on the lead and feel like he's going to be able to keep it no matter what. I'll tell you what, though, as they come to the wire here, this work was, I thought, a really good work if he was going to the dirt mile. But then as you see him hit the wire and he doesn't have much gallop out afterwards, I'm just not so sure that no matter what they do with him, they're going to be able to get him to go 1.25 miles, whether he's on the lead the whole way or not.
He's tried twice beyond the 1.25 mile distance, and he's failed miserably both times, once in the Preakness and once in the Travers. Whether it's distance limitations or not remains to be seen. But this is what you're talking about right in here, Donna, huh?
And it's a fair criticism that Donna makes. But keep in mind, a lot of horses know where the wire is when they work. So using that as the ultimate reason he can't get 1.25 miles, I don't know. Look, I remember this work now. It's coming back to me. I actually thought he finished up pretty good and finished up good around the turn.
Yeah, watch him right now, Tom, as they really start to go around the turn, and he really starts to put on the brakes. I just would like to see a little bit more of a gallop. And we're getting to see a lot of a gallop out on this work. You can see the rider stays down on him. He's still asking him, and he's not really giving it back to him.
Final time, 1:12.1. Quick letter grades. Tom.
I gave it a B.
Donna.
B-.
A for me.
Let's move on to the longest of long shots in the Breeders' Cup Classic. That would have to be Footbridge. Footbridge has not even won a graded stake. Footbridge on the same morning that Byron was out worked 6 furlongs under Iggy Puglisi.
Yeah, we're going to pick it up pretty much the last quarter here. The one thing I'll say real quick here, though, visually this horse quickens impressively the last part.
Yeah, we don't get to see much of this work because it's in the dark. We just see him through the stretch. He does quicken, and coming off of a 3rd place finish last time out, he's going to have to get a little bit quicker to beat these horses.
Yeah, and he quickens by being visually asked with the hands. Iggy is pushing on him pretty good. He does what's responded of him. A good work.
So he's asked what, he does what he's asked to do. Final time, 1:13. How do you letter grade it, Donna?
I give it an A.
Tom?
I gave it a B.
I gave it a B+. So good works here for Footbridge in 1:13 flat.
Simon, I know you love curveballs. I'm going to send one to you right now. So just wait on it, and then I want you to turn it and burn it. Where's Paul LaDuca when we need him? This is Prayer for Relief. This is a work you have not seen prior. Prayer for Relief, preparing for the Breeders' Cup Classic. Of course, a big disappointment. You and I were there, Simon, when Prayer for Relief had to scratch before the Jockey Club Gold Cup. Yeah,
it certainly was. He scratched. He reared up in the paddock before the start of the race and got his leg over a fence. So we want to see how he's acting. Looks like Tammy Fox in the irons there, right? Is it? I think
that's definitely Tammy Fox. This is a big, good-looking horse. When you see him in person, he's just visually imposing and impressive, but he's yet to win a race this year.
So we're watching Prayer for Relief around the turn here, Donna. Everything looks good. Like the position of his head, ears, reins. Tammy's lightly asking of him right through there, and he's responding through this work as we watch it for the first time.
Yeah, he looks like he's doing everything willingly. You can see Tammy is carrying a whip in her right hand, but she's certainly not using it yet. She's just guiding him with her hands down, just slowly asking him to pick it up now as they come through the stretch.
Yeah, nice lead transition there, leading with the right front down the straightaways, around the left front, around the turns. That's what you want to see. And you can see the difference between this horse down on the rail, California Chrome, we talked about earlier, was way off the rail here. Prayer for Relief, moving nicely.
Moving nicely, that's the key. The last part of the work, we're watching it live for the first time. Good finish, good gallop out.
Winless this year, he's 0 for 8 with just 1 second-place finish and 3/3. He's going to have to step his game up, but off that work, you think he's doing the best that this horse can do?
I mean, again, this is a 6-year-old horse. He knows how to go out there and work. The only thing we're looking for is for him to do something wrong. I didn't see anything wrong.
Right, he passed the test for us.
I'm with Donna.
Let's turn our attention from the Breeders' Cup Classic to the mile on the turf. It's kind of hard to look at these pre-entries and not see the name of Wise Dan. He had won it in back-to-back years. Unfortunately, injury sends him to the sidelines, but it does create an opportunity clearly for the rest of the field. And how about Tom's Tribute, who has put it together? He put it together at Del Mar, taking the Grade 1 Eddie Reed and then the Del Mar Mile last time out. This is a look at Tom's Tribute on the turf at Santa Anita on October 19th. 6 furlongs, the distance of the work. Georgie Alvarez up.
I like this work. I've followed this horse closely out in Southern California. He gets very aggressive when he's in company. Jim Cassidy has spent more time getting him to relax and settle than getting him to get aggressive and work fast. So this is why you're seeing him in company here. You know, an easy work, breaking off there, you know, some slackness in the reins, and he's a much better horse when he can sit behind horses and finish in the afternoon. And to accomplish that, this is what Jim Cassidy's been doing, been working him on his own on the grass.
So when we're watching Tom's Tribute here, you're going to see as he turns for home, he's going to be called upon by the rider. He does everything with his left hand, but he definitely opens the rein and calls upon him. Then something unusual to me. Around the 16th pole, the rider kind of shifts his position and eases up on Tom's Tribute. He doesn't even ride him out to the wire, as best as I can tell. I can't understand that. I think it's rider error that's happening here and something that he should be criticized
And he's
for.
working around the dogs as well, Donna.
Yeah, absolutely working around the dogs. But as you mentioned, his best races have been when he's relaxed early, finished with a flourish. And I think what happened, Tom, I saw what you were talking about, is that he asked him to finish up. He gave him that kick that he needed, and then he goes,
Right there he
okay.
changes, Donna.
He goes, okay, you gave me the kick I needed, we're good. But there were also 2 horses to his outside that were galloping, and I think the rider said, let's get past these horses, and then I'll let you ease up.
I agree with you. I kind of like it. They kind of test drove him for 50 yards there, and then the rider said, you know what, you've given me enough today. Let's just gallop out about your business. Remember, this is a horse that can get keyed up in the afternoon, so we don't want to get him too riled up in the morning. 114 flat for Tom's Tribute.
And we learned that dogs are not just a letter grade that Tom Amoss hands out. Taking a look at the pre-entries for the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. Silencio is the horse that we're going to take a look at next. And Silencio preparing for this race on October 19th. 7 furlongs on the turf. Victor Espinosa aboard.
I think this is an interesting work. Again, you're going to watch Silencio work around the dogs here for trainer Gary Mandela. He's built for the 6.5 furlongs. He can't quite see out a mile. But to me, look at the difference between him and Tom's Tribute. Tom's Tribute visually quickened there when the rider asked. To me, again, you've got a horse here working it as he races. He's a little one-paced. He doesn't have that quickness, that turn of foot, and I think you can see it in the workout here.
Yeah, you know, this is a 5-year-old horse who's, I think, a little bit on the lazy side, but he's a horse who only does what he has to do, and I would have liked to have seen just a little bit more effort from him in this work, Tom.
I mean, Simon, you mentioned it. He's one pace.
He's one pace.
We're going 6.5 furlongs in this race. Why does that make him a factor in that kind of race? When you watch our horse here, you're going to see him even coming to the wire. He stays about the same pace. To get this sprint distance of 6.5 furlongs, I need to see more quickening on the end of this work. He's big, he's imposing, and he's got one of those big strides that to me says, I'm more 2 turns than 1 turn. I think this is a problem for this horse.
Yeah, and I think it needs to be pointed out that he's shortening up. He's coming off races going 7 furlongs and a mile, shortening up to this distance. And we'd like to see a little bit more pep in his step, a little bit more quickness, a little quicker turn of foot to show that he's going to be able to do that.
He's going to be far back early in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, but you see what I mean. He's just lengthening his stride. He doesn't give you that burst of acceleration. He's not a horse that the rider can ask him, and he's going to be right there in 2 seconds.
That would worry me. That would worry me in this kind of race.
Yeah, he's like a greyhound bus. You know, it takes a while to get up to maximum speed, and then if you hit the brakes, you've got to start all over again. 125 flat for Silencio in the on the 7 furlong turf work.
Our colleague Matt Carruthers, I can see him standing off to the side. I literally can read in his head him saying "Pshaw." I think our out-of-towners are not quite familiar with the down-the-hill races and the fact that the race is essentially won in the final 220 yards. Shame on you guys. Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, pre-entries in here, Golden Sense. is trying to win this in back-to-back years. Looking at the field that will line up, let's start with Tapatur, working October 19th at Santa Anita on the main track. 5 furlongs, we pick it up late.
Yeah, we pick it up just the last quarter mile here and turns into the stretch there. I thought moving very nicely.
Moving very nicely. Donna mentioned that a lot of these Asmussen horses, the rider will glance down at the watch to make sure that they're doing exactly what's demanded of them. The stick is in the back pocket, not going to be used here, a sign that they want an easy work. It went well.
I ditto everything Tom just said. The watch, the stick, I thought it went great.
Galloping out nicely there, and Tapatur coming off a second-place finish in the Pennsylvania Derby behind Bayern and cutting back to a distance of a mile.
Let's move on to Fed Biz preparing for the Dirt Mile. This is from October 19th, 6 furlongs with Martin Garcia aboard and working in company.
Yeah, he's on the outside. Martin Garcia in the royal blue cap there. And contrary to what we've seen with a lot of Bob Baffert horses, you know, the best horse being on the lead here, Fed Biz today's got a target because that's his running style. He sits just off the pace, and I thought traveling nicely with Garcia, doing everything that you want to see in a work, Tom. You know, we emphasize on the horse that's working, but I think the workmate has an important role, not to mess the work up as well. So we got to give kudos to the people that are doing their job.
Yeah, and actually Fed Biz sometimes likes to go to the lead, and those are not when he runs his best races.
Yep.
So they work him off the pace here, trying to help him to remember, you do better when you lay off the pace. And you can see he easily takes him up to the horse that's on the lead, and the rider's still sitting quite comfortably,
Yeah,
Tom.
he inhales his workmate down the lane through here and is not really asked, does all the right things, shows all the right signs. Look how quiet the rider's hands are on Fed Biz. He's going very, very easy, but it can be maybe looked at the rider on the inside is not doing much either. So is he really separating from this horse? Not necessarily.
But the horse on the inside is a Grade 1 winner. That's declassified. So it's a nice pair.
Amen.
He won the triple. Yeah, you've got to know the competition that you're running against. That's exactly right. Good point you bring up there, Donna. He won the Triple Bend Grade 1 event. So we like Fed Biz here.
Fed Biz had the same workmate this morning out at Santa Anita preparing for the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. So it's Declassify and Fed Biz once again.
Let's see if it's a mirror image of the workout we've just seen. Jockey Joe Steiner on the lead on Declassify, Fed Biz, Martin Garcia. And it looks like the instructions were repeat what you did last week, guys.
Well, it does through here. This is the beginning of the work. This is the first time I've actually watched this work. I guess any of us have watched this work. So let's see if Fed Biz goes by just as easily as last time and whether he can continue on through the lane, Donna.
Yeah, if it weren't for the fact that they told us these were 2 different works, you would think you were looking at the same exact work that we just saw. So if they finish up the same way that they did last week, I think we're all going to like it again, and right now it looks like it's setting up to do that.
He's made that middle move that he made last time in the work we saw before and kind of overtaken his work opponent through here and Declassified. And here comes Fed Biz down the lane right here. Again, hands very still, very quiet. Same is true of the horse on the inside. I think these are 2 well-matched horses. That's why we're seeing them work together for the 2nd time in a row.
Exactly, and this is a mirror image. You could take last week's work and superimpose it on this week's, and it would look identical, right, Donna?
Yeah, I think this was just, this was our maintenance work right here. We already did the big work last week. Let's just take them easy together.
Did he switch to his left lead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to criticize, you can say he switched to his left lead early, but his stride looks very good. That could have been any number of reasons. Hands moving on the horse.
And oftentimes, one thing that we can't see from that is how much traffic he had on the outside of him. So he might have just passed 3 horses when he switched to his left lead.
I think it's important to revisit that because we talk about lead changes here a lot on TVG, and I know to the hardened viewer it gets, you know, they're sick and tired of hearing it. But for somebody who's watching for the first time, let's go ahead and revisit that, Tom, what we're talking about. You can see here the horse on the outside, he's leading with his right front as we slow it down. Right. So you want to lead with the right front down the straightaways, left front around the turns. Explain the lead change here, Tom.
So the lead change is going to occur right through here, Simon. Right as we get to the wire, he just moved over to his left lead right there. And I think the important thing to remember about lead changes and leads in particular is that it's very important to be on your left lead when you're making the turns. When you're making the turns, you need to use that left lead to angle in to make the turns correctly. I don't know that it's so important to go to your right lead down the lane every time you run. Alidar, very good racehorse, never used his right lead down the lane.
Donna, what do you think as a former rider? You've ridden horses that didn't switch leads. You give them an opportunity to try, and then if they're running, you just leave them alone, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best analogy I've ever heard, it's like carrying a suitcase through the airport. You carry it in your right hand for a while and then switch it over to the left. You're just shifting the weight. It is more comfortable for them to get around the turn when they're on their left lead because on the right lead, they end up being a little bit off balance. But in one-turn races, why do they need to be all the way down the backside on their right lead, then left lead, and then all the way down the front side? And sometimes horses just don't want to change. And yeah, like you said, you can come out of that turn and kind of set them up for it. But if they don't switch, you just need to go on and ride the race.
And how many times do you see a horse that's made to switch leads? It looks like he's running well.
Loses momentum.
And he falls apart.
Yep. loses momentum. All right, let's look at one more work. Big Bane Theory. Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. He's entered in for trainer Carla Gaines. And this is a horse that's never, ever been on the dirt in the afternoon. And this is a workout with two workmates here. And what I'm guessing, they're trying to get Big Bane Theory in behind these workmates, to kind of get some dirt in his face, because he's never been on that surface in the afternoon. It doesn't go to plan by any means.
Yeah, this is a potentially disastrous start that ends up being okay. He's trying to get this horse on the outside with the white shadow roll back behind these two workmates, and Big Bane Theory is giving the rider, Joe Talamo, no help at all. But you can see right now, the horse finally puts his head down, and Joe Talamo is able to get him under control and get him back, and eventually he does, for a few strides anyway, getting back behind these horses, Tom.
Yeah, so Simon, you mentioned he's never been on the dirt before, and I think the idea here was for him to get dirt in his face for the first time. It's happening right here. You can see he's resenting it. He's getting out. The rider's holding that left rein, trying to keep him in behind those horses. Big Bane Theory wants no part of that. He wants to be away from the dirt and outside of these horses. That, to me, is a disappointment as far as what you're trying to accomplish in the work. Finish is okay here, Donna, but I don't like what I saw in terms of how aggressive and how much he resented the dirt in his face.
Yeah, and he never got him far enough back to really get any dirt in his face. It was up on his chest, and he didn't even like that. So in his face, he's not even going to like that even anymore.
A big negative. I would agree with you guys. I mean, you know, the world's biggest stage, the Breeders' Cup World Thoroughbred Championships, and that's one of your penultimate works going in. Probably not what you want to see here. And the experiment didn't work out. 59-3, the final time, looks good, but yet again, it underscores why you should watch the works and not always look at the final time. It's not always the final time, it's how they do it. Letter grades.
I gave that a D.
D, Donna?
I actually liked the work. I gave it an A, but from the standpoint of did they get done what they were trying to get done? No, they did not. I thought the horse looked good, though.
Yeah, I gave the horse a D just because I don't think he passed the test that he was asked, and that was to be in behind horses, eat some dirt, and going about his business. It didn't work out as planned.
Love the raised eyebrows, the difference between the D and the A there, between Donna and Tom. That was pretty good, you guys. Outstanding job on our work show and with our TVG Extra segment that you watched here for the Works Breeders' Cup 2014, presented by Remington Park. If you'd like to see more of this programming, go to the TVG YouTube channel. When we come back here on our regular programming, it's the start of the morning line. Your racing day started with the works and watching California Chrome with his preparation for the Breeders' Cup Classic. Now we get into races you can watch and wager here on our coverage and play at tvg.com.